Say hi. All right, we are here today to discuss. I'm going to rank the soundtracks. And by soundtracks, we're talking about the original scores, not the contemporary soundtracks that a lot of the movies have. Just the original scores of these films, of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. So with that said, let's dive in. You can see I have dreamy, good, decent, meh, and garbage. Garbage being the worst, and dreamy being the best. We have all the scores here from all 9 films, including Freddy vs. Jason and the remake. And I will go through and put these in their own categories. I'm not going to expand too much about as far as like the composer details, the symphony details, track lists, or my favorite compositions. I'm just going to quickly put these in order of what I consider dreamy, good, decent, meh, garbage, and then at the end we'll go through, stack them up, and rank them from best to least, or least to best, whatever one we decide. So let's start with the first film. I like the score. It works within the context of the film. I'm going to put it in good. I think it's a good score. Very good. Memorable. Really broke ground on the visual or the audio language of the film, I guess you could say. It's probably a terrible phrase and analogy, but that's who I am as a person. I'm just a terrible analogy. So let's go through this. First film belongs in good. The soundtrack to the first film. The score belongs in good. Moving on to part 2. I love the score for part 2. For me, it belongs in dreamy. It's a darker score. It's a weirder score. If you've heard the score, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You probably love it. With that said, though, part 3 is also going in dreamy. Part 3's score is probably my favorite of the franchise. Well, it is my favorite of the franchise. Followed closely by...
Dad.
What?
I want to sit down here.
Okay, she's going to sit down there. Followed closely by... Move my microphone over a little bit. There we go. Followed closely by the score for New Nightmare, which is my second favorite score of the franchise. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Fantastic score. Let's go to... I kind of jumped the gun with that one. I should have waited. But let's go on with the other series in a row. Part 4 score is also dreamy to me. I think it's great. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It sort of expands on Dream Warriors motifs. I still think Dream Warriors is a better score, but 4 is really good. If New Nightmare didn't exist, 4 would probably be my second favorite. But alas, let's move on to Dream Child, which I also find to be dreamy. Again, it expands on what 3 and 4 did. There's some new stuff in there, new motifs. There's a really like a more dark and gothic element to the score in that film. Love it. Fantastic. With that said, Freddy's Dead, the 6th film in the franchise, I mean, it's just, it's not a garbage score. It's okay enough, but to me, it's just sort of I guess it's probably the best thing about the score. And no disrespect to the composer of that film. It's competent music. It's just the movie, along with everything else, is just so vanilla to me and boring and meh and dull. To me, it's just meh. Again, there's a lot of people who love that movie and the score, but I'm just meh on it. I'm just meh. That's the way it is. Let's move on to Freddy vs. Jason, which I think the score for Freddy vs. Jason, people sleep on it. It's a fantastic score. It's one of the best scores in both franchises, in both Friday and Nightmare franchises. The score is just absolutely delicious. It's a fantastic score. It's excellent. It is absolutely excellent. And then moving on to Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake score. The score itself is fine. It works within the context of the film. It uses a few motifs from the original film again, but sort of updated in their own way. But it's just like the movie. That movie is so vanilla to me and so meh. I want to put it in garbage or meh just to make a point. But the score is technically, I think, better than Freddy's Dead score. So with that said, as far as the scores go, it probably belongs in decent. Maybe even good. But decent feels more right to me. You know? So here's my ranking of the scores for the Nightmare on Elm Street saga. So with that said, let's change the dreamy category from best to least, and we'll rack them up and put them in order. So with my least favorite being Freddy's Dead, followed by the remake. I can't believe I put the remake above something else, but I guess this is just scores we're talking about. Anyways, my favorite is...
Daddy.
What?
Why did you put this in here?
Her rocks are in the drawer, so she's upset about it. Here you go. Here's your other rock. Hey, hold that up. Look at this, Jake.
I just want to look at it.
Okay, hold it up. She's screaming because she has headphones on, so she thinks she's talking normal. Hold that up. Show them. Say, look at the Jason. Anyways, the Jason. Say hi.
Hi.
She's grumpy and tired. Excuse her. Anyways, my favorite score is Dream Warriors, followed by New Nightmare, followed by Part 4, followed by Part 2. I almost want to put 2 above 4. But no, it belongs here. I think 4 is better than 2. I think Freddy vs. Jason is better than 5. 5 is better than 1. 1 is better than... Yeah, okay, so this works. So, yeah. I'm going to put... Yeah, this feels good to me. I think on a good day, Part 2 and Freddy vs. Jason could switch pretty easily. But this feels good now. So the best being Dream Warriors, the least best being Freddy's Dead. So from best to least, it's Dream Warriors, New Nightmare, Dream Master, Freddy's Revenge, FVJ, Dream Child, the original, the remake, and Freddy's Dead. That feels good to me right now. That could change, but that's where I am right now, and that's where I'm going to stay for right now. So I hope you enjoyed this ranking of the Nightmare on Elm Street scores. Monkey, say Happy Freddy Krueger Day.
Happy Freddy Krueger Day.
You heard it from the best. We'll see you next time.